I made sacrifices for my sister for months. But on Christmas she mocked my love in front of everyone. The entire family was laughing and I stayed silent. They thought I would always tolerate it, but they didn't know that it was my last gift. 15 minutes later, they realized their biggest mistake. They laughed when I handed her the last Christmas gift. My sister opened it in front of everyone, looked inside and smiled. Then she said, "Seriously, Emma? After everything, this is what you got me?" The whole room laughed. I didn't. Because they didn't know that gift was the last thing I was ever going to give them. My name is Emma Carter. I'm 35 years old and I live in Columbus, Ohio. I work as a marketing manager for a small company. I have always been the person in my family who fixes things. Problems. Bills. Last-minute emergencies. I was the reliable one. The one everyone called when something went wrong. My sister Rachel was different. Rachel was 32. She was the person everyone noticed first. She was confident, social, and she knew exactly how to make people feel like she was the most important person in the room. My mother Linda loved saying, "Rachel has a special personality." My father Michael always said, "Your sister knows how to enjoy life." They never said that about me. But I was the one who showed up. Especially for Rachel. And that was my biggest mistake. Christmas that year was supposed to be special. At least that's what I thought. I spent 3 months preparing for it. Not because I had to. Because I wanted to. Rachel had been going through a difficult year. Her husband Brian lost his job, their bills increased and they were struggling financially. So I helped. I paid for groceries. I covered some of their children's school expenses. I sent money when Rachel said she was short on rent. Every time she promised, "Emma, I swear I'll pay you back." I never asked. I didn't help because I wanted money back. I helped because she was my sister. For Christmas I bought her something I knew she wanted. A designer handbag. It cost almost $1,200. I saved for it. I skipped dinners. I delayed buying things for myself. I wanted her to feel remembered. I even wrote a handwritten note. It said, "You deserve good things. I hope this reminds you how loved you are." I meant every word. Christmas Eve arrived. My parents' house was full. The living room had decorations everywhere. My nephews were running around with toy cars. The kitchen smelled like cinnamon and roasted turkey. Everyone looked happy. I arrived carrying gifts. Rachel saw me. "Emma." She hugged me quickly. Then she looked at the bags in my hand. "Did you get me something good?" I smiled. "Maybe." She laughed. "You know I'm hard to impress." I ignored the comment. That was Rachel. Everything was a competition. During dinner everyone talked about their year. My mother asked Rachel, "So what was your favorite thing this year?" Rachel smiled. "Honestly, getting through everything with Brian. It wasn't easy." Everyone looked at her sympathetically. My mother touched her hand. "You're such a strong woman." I almost laughed. Strong. That word again. The same word people used when they wanted me to handle things alone. After dinner, everyone gathered around the Christmas tree. My father started handing out gifts. Then it was Rachel's turn. I walked over and gave her the bag. She smiled. "This looks expensive." "It's just something I thought you'd like." Everyone watched. She opened it. He pulled out the handbag. For a second she smiled. Then she looked closer at the tag. "You're serious?" The room became quiet. I looked at her. "What?" She held up the bag. "This." I didn't understand. She laughed. "Emma, you know I already have bags like this, right?" My cousin looked uncomfortable. My mother said, "Rachel, don't be rude." But she was smiling. Rachel continued, "I'm just surprised. You know what I've been dealing with this year." I stared at her. "What does that mean?" She looked around. "Everyone knows I've had a hard year." I said, "Yes. Everyone knows." "Then you know I expected something more meaningful." I felt everyone looking at me. "More meaningful?" He shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe something useful." My father laughed awkwardly. "Rachel, your sister tried." But nobody defended me. Rachel smiled. "I'm not saying she didn't try." Then she looked at the handbag. "I just think some people don't understand what others need." That was it. The room laughed. Small laughs. Uncomfortable laughs. But they laughed. I looked at the gift in her hands. Then I looked at my family. Nobody saw what happened. They only saw a joke. I picked up my coat. My mother noticed. Emma, where are you going? I smiled. I'm tired. Rachel rolled her eyes. Seriously? I stopped. He said, You're leaving because of a joke? I looked at her. No. I paused. I'm leaving because I finally understood it wasn't a joke. I walked out. Nobody followed. That night I sat in my apartment and looked at my bank account. For years I had spent money trying to keep everyone comfortable. I had been the emergency fund, the backup plan, the person who always said yes. And I was done. The next morning Rachel texted me. Are you still upset? I didn't answer. 10 minutes later. Emma, everyone thinks you overreacted. Still no answer. Then, you always make things about yourself. I read that message 3 times. Then I smiled. Because she finally said what everyone had been thinking. I had spent years making sure everyone else mattered. Nobody noticed when I disappeared. So I stopped appearing. I canceled the automatic payments I had set up for my parents' bills. I stopped sending money to Rachel. I stopped answering every emergency call. 3 days later my mother called. Emma, what's going on? I said, Nothing. Why did you stop helping? I looked out my window. Because I realized I was only important when I was useful. She became quiet. That's not true. I said, Mom, when was the last time someone asked if I was okay? She didn't answer. A few weeks passed. Then I received a call from my father. Emma, we need to talk. I knew something was wrong. What happened? He hesitated. It's about Rachel. I sat down. What about her? Her financial situation is worse than we thought. I almost laughed. Didn't she have everything under control? Silence. Then he said, We need your help. There was the same sentence, the same expectation. I asked, How much? $25,000. I closed my eyes. Not because I was surprised, because I finally understood. They weren't calling because they missed me. They were calling because they needed me. I said, No. My father was silent. Emma, think about what you're saying. I have. But she's your sister. I answered. And I was your daughter before I was her solution. He didn't say anything. A week later I discovered something that changed everything. My Aunt Karen called me. He said, Emma, I think you deserve to know the truth. What truth? She told me Rachel hadn't just been struggling. Rachel had been hiding money problems for years. The designer clothes. The expensive dinners. The vacations. She had been borrowing money from everyone, including my parents. And my parents weren't protecting Rachel because she was helpless. They were protecting her because they were afraid of admitting they had made mistakes. Suddenly everything looked different. Rachel wasn't the victim. She was just the loudest person in the room. I didn't get angry. I got organized. I collected every payment record. Every message. Every promise Rachel had made. Then I waited. 2 months later my family had another gathering. A New Year dinner. Everyone was there. Rachel walked in wearing a new coat. She looked at me. So, are we still doing this? I looked at her. Doing what? This silent treatment. I smiled. No. I'm just done pretending. She laughed. You're still upset about Christmas? I looked around. Everyone was listening. I said, No. I'm upset about years of being treated like I only mattered when I could give something. Rachel rolled her eyes. Here we go. I opened my folder. My father immediately noticed. Emma. I looked at him. No. Everyone wanted honesty. I placed the documents on the table. Rachel looked down. Her expression changed. What is this? Everything you didn't tell people. Nobody moved. My mother picked up the papers. Her hands started shaking. Rachel looked at me. You went through my things? No. I looked at her. I looked at the things you left behind. The room was silent. My father whispered. Is this true? Rachel didn't answer. That was enough. The same person who laughed at my gift couldn't explain her own choices. A few weeks later Rachel apologized. Not immediately. Not easily. But she did. He said, I was jealous of you. I looked at her. Why? She sighed. Because everyone thought you were boring. But you were the one everyone trusted. I didn't say anything. Because that was the truth. The person they ignored was the person holding everything together. Today I still love my family. But things are different. I don't rescue everyone anymore. I don't prove my worth through sacrifice. And I never bought Rachel another Christmas gift. Not because I hate her. Because I finally learned something. Love should never require you to disappear. And the last gift I gave my sister wasn't the handbag. If this story touched your heart and reminded you about the importance of respect, kindness, and knowing your worth, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing for more powerful emotional stories. Thank you so much for watching until the end. We truly appreciate your support and are grateful to have you with us.